All right, everybody. Good late afternoon. We've got ourselves an unusual occurrence today. We've got a Monday injury report. Usually a team doesn't release an injury report on Monday, but when you play on Thursday, you need to. Now, it would be insane to have an actual practice the day after your team plays in a game. So neither the Seahawks or the Cardinals actually practiced today, but they can estimate what they think would have happened if they did practice, and that's what they have here. So Donnie Druin, one of the beat writers for the Cardinals, posted this just about a minute ago. So this is pretty hot off the presses. And both teams look like they have injury lists that are pretty long, but keep in mind, it's an estimate. And also keep in mind that this is a short week. So all this stuff is going to be a little bit inflated. And these players, there's probably a decent chunk of them that would be able to play on a normal week. They're not going to be able to play on the short week. So it's a little bit of an extreme circumstance. Please like this video, subscribe if you're new, click the bell, become a channel member. Check out my latest video on Bleacher Report, went live this morning. Another one's going to go live tomorrow morning. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here, starting with the Seahawks side of things. Shout out to Donnie, by the way, for getting both teams on the same report. So the Seahawks, again, it's pretty long, but there's actually some encouraging stuff here. 2 players were projected as DNPs today. Josh Jones, the backup tackle, who did play a little bit at the end of that game, of course, because we pulled Cross because it was such a blowout. He has an ankle DNP projection. And Robbie Oots. Now, Robbie Oots is obviously a more important part of this offense. He does play, but even he's not a full-time player. He's got an ankle as well. He was also projected to be a DNP today. So I don't get the sense that Oots had a severe injury at the end of that game, but he definitely did have something. So we'll see. It's a short week. Be prepared for anything. And let's face it, this team should have contingency plans to get things done effectively without having their fullback. Like, all love and respect to Robbie Oots. You got to have a backup plan for that. And maybe the backup plan is just Brady Russell gets to go out there instead. But those are your 2 DNPs. Traditionally speaking, if you're limited or projected to be limited 3 days before the game, you're probably good to go for game day. But obviously, this is a little bit of a different circumstance. But here's the encouraging thing. Pretty much all players that missed the game on Sunday are either limited or full today in the projection. So that means, from my perspective, they've all got a pretty good chance of being back. So be enthusiastic about that part, at least. Elijah Arroyo, he's new, groin injury, limited, and he was not a big part of our game plan on Sunday, so maybe there is something going on there, but they don't think it's a huge deal. It is a groin injury, though. Don't want to mess around with that too much. But Nick Emenwari, limited, projection-wise anyway, with the ankle. Julian Love, limited with the hamstring. Devin Witherspoon, limited with the knee. And also Charbonnet, because he was the other guy who missed on Sunday. He was projected to be able to practice in full today. So, very good chance all 3 of those guys play, or all 4 of them play. If any of them don't play, they probably got hosed by the short week. So, we're close. We're close with these guys. So, that's definitely something to be encouraged by. Emenwari, Love, and Witherspoon all have a pretty good chance to play this week if you take these projections at face value. 60 seconds, let's talk about Sleeper. Before we go any further into this video, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. Have you heard about the app, the Sleeper app? Download it. I'm going to let you in on a little something now. It's more than just a platform for fantasy leagues. Yes, this year, millions of users enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but there is so much more to this app. There are live stats, real-time updates, and visualizations on all stats. News feed is lightning fast. You get updates on your favorite players and teams. There is a chat you can use in real time to engage with other users about plays and performances. All kinds of fun stuff like that over there. So download the Sleeper app, the #1 sports app today. Experience it yourself. Use promo code SBN to get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. SBN promo code. Back to the video. All right, welcome back. So that's the good news. Boye Mafe, Jalen Sundell, and Leonard Williams also all showed up as limited. Again, I'm usually not worried about players when they're limited early in the week, but the short week does make things a little more interesting. However, I think we're probably fine. Mafe did get a little bit of a reduced workload on Sunday. Maybe there was something flaring up there. And these toe injuries, like that often ends up being more serious than it sounds like. But not too worried about any of this. We'll know more tomorrow. Leonard Williams also limited. And Ernest Jones was listed as an injury, but they thought he was... If they had practiced today, they think he would have had a full practice. So I don't think there's anything to worry about there. So the list is a little bit long. The information provided, however, is not bad. So the Seahawks look like they're going to be relatively healthy going into this game. We'll see on Tuesday. The Cardinals, they're in a little bit of a worse position, I would say. Obviously, we already talked about James Conner earlier today. He's not going to play. He may never play again. Like, he's not playing again this year, and he's probably not playing again in his life, unfortunately. It looked that bad. So we know about that one. Kevin Beacham, that's just a rest day, so that shouldn't really mean too much. Should be ready to go. But we got Will Johnson, DNP, projected with the groin injury, and Will Johnson has already shown some issues. Has already shown that he has some issues staying on the field. So that is a real concern for the Cardinals. And Zay Jones has concussion-like symptoms, and he's being tested for a concussion after that last offensive play against the 49ers where he had maybe the game-sealing catch and dropped it. Very unlikely he makes it through concussion protocol and can play on Thursday. So that's not going to be an easy one to work through. They also have a slew of other players, including 3 offensive linemen that are at least limited. Evan Brown, our old buddy, limited with the ankle. Will Hernandez, limited with the knee. And Paris Johnson, limited with his own knee. I know that Gannon spoke about Paris Johnson Jr. a little bit in his conference. He said he liked where he was, but he did admit the short week makes things a little less clear. So if there ends up being an issue with the availability of some of these offensive linemen for the Cardinals, it won't be the most shocking thing in the world. Akeem Davis-Gaither, also limited with the elbow. Darren Hall, limited with the ankle. Probably nothing there. I think those guys should be okay for whatever that's worth. And that's your injury report for Monday. A rare Monday injury report. We'll know a lot more. Tomorrow will be a lot more informative, to be perfectly honest, but this is a good start. And I think that the Seahawks can feel fairly good about where they sit right now in terms of their health as a roster. All right, so Pro Football Focus defensive video is going to come out tonight. I'm going to go ahead and push that back to about 7. So keep an eye out for that. And that'll probably do it for the day. If there's something else gets announced later today, I know the Seahawks signed Khalil Herbert, former Bears running back, to their practice squad. And that got some people thinking that Charbonnet might be a little more banged up than they're letting on. But the fact that he was projected to be a full participant today kind of says otherwise. So maybe this is a Helani thing. Maybe they didn't like the fact that Helani fumbled. I don't know. But doesn't seem like it's going to affect the team too much right now. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think. Another video in a couple hours. See y'all soon.